Welcome everybody to Funeral Nation episode 156. I'm Ryan Thalgmartin. That is Jeff, the Funeral Commander Harbison. And I'm so glad that we got the episode right because I called it Q56 in my email to you and not 156.
I know. I thought I was on some type of new mission or I joined some kind of exclusive group overseas for doing some exotic things there. So anyway, it's good to be back here in Phoenix. I'm back home and you're in Ohio, wet, rainy Ohio.
Oh, man, it's terrible.
From Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, Pennsylvania spoke at the Pennsylvania Funeral Directors Western PA conference, 3-hour keynote, which is a long time, but super enjoyable. Great crowd. If you're in that area, you should definitely check that out. They draw from Ohio, a little bit from West Virginia, and then Western PA. So good stuff.
Hey, shout out to my West Virginia state. So I'm all about that. Hey, before we move forward, this thing is powered by some very, very good fuel. And who is that?
That is C&J Financial, Jamie and his crew, Rob, Jackie, the whole bunch. You have seen them. You have shook their hand. They do what they say they're going to do. And like the commander always says, the funeral isn't over until you get paid. So we have a new promo for them. Let's run it.
If all insurance assignment companies say they pay fast and are easy to work with, why do twice as many funeral homes choose C&J Financial? Over the past 2 decades, C&J and its affiliates have served in excess of 633,000 families and funded more than $3.6 billion in assignments to funeral homes and cemeteries throughout North America. If you're tired of the hassle, headache, and cash flow delay in processing insurance death claims, C&J's Fast Funding program can help. Let us show you why thousands of funeral homes across America choose C&J for their assignment funding needs, and why many associations, accounting firms, and industry leaders recommend C&J to their client and members. In every business, there's one gold standard. In insurance assignment funding, it's C&J.
All right, so this week there was some big news. It was interesting. It's on Connecting Directors, and I think it's worth us discussing from a funeral home operational side, which it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
But you want to share a little bit about the lawsuit that's going on up in Canada?
Yeah, there was a company called Afterlife that was basically populating obituaries on a memorial page site where users could go and create a forever living memorial for a loved one. And they were getting the obituaries by scraping them off of funeral home websites and basically illegally stealing them. Now, this is not a new phenomenon. Like, there's been companies doing this for a long time. What happened in Canada is a family filed a lawsuit against that company to the tune of $20 million for illegally taking that essentially copyrighted material because the funeral home owns it. And I know people are going to go, no, it's not copyrighted, and it's, it goes to the newspaper, therefore it's public domain and some of these things. But I think this opens up a can of worms because there are a number of companies in the United States, both big and small, both website providers to just memorial companies that profit off of scraping obituaries from funeral home websites, period. Whether they are websites that they own, whether they are websites that somebody else owns, there are people scraping obituaries, and this sets a precedent that somebody could file a lawsuit and say, hey, you took these obits and they're mine and we're going to sue you.
I'm with you. And I also want to go a little bit more granular.
Yeah.
I am aware and have been involved where families did not want an obituary posted at all. No death notification, no information. So that brings back the question, should we have permission from the family to post anything about the death and having their loved one at a funeral home? I remember expressly a young person who died and the family wanted nothing on there and was adamant about not posting any services, not posting the name, not posting where the bodies resides. And I found that a bit compelling because, what happens if arbitrarily at funeral homes where we're used to doing it, we picked up a body, we got information, we put, services pending with a name there. Um, do you get permission every time to do that from a family?
This is a big discussion, and I don't think this is one that's going to go away. It has a massive impact. From the perspective that I look at the obituary, one, it's the family's privacy. So if they don't want it, like, that has to be a process and a question that's asked. Two, essentially the funeral home owns that. Like, that is you're writing that material, and it's being taken from your website and monetized somewhere else. And I think that this just opens up that discussion further of who owns the obituary. Should funeral homes legally get obituaries copyrighted? And that is one of the best pieces of marketing that funeral home has. 75% of their web traffic is tied to obituaries, and if they're everywhere else, the funeral home, if anyone's profiting off the obituary through sympathy store sales and things of that nature, it should be the funeral home, not somebody that's just scraping it. They did nothing to get that family to go to that funeral home.
I agree. And so it's going to be interesting as that case evolves. And if the president comes down here to the United States and someone has an issue. So
yeah.
We have to keep an eye on that. Speaking of keeping an eye and tentacles on everything, Kraken actually, with their process and their software, they have segments in there to help with obituaries. They also manage the entire business from a whiteboard right from one of these, which I think is just brilliant. So I'm a fan. I believe in what they do. We've got folks out here that's used them and have done nothing but rave with the communication and the platform. So let's roll the promotion.
Ever hear the quote, "One of the biggest problems with communication is the assumption that it happens"? We all know that good communication makes for good teamwork. So how can you be sure things are clear with your team? One example of how Kraken helps you communicate with your team, you can easily assign, schedule, and notify team members that they've been assigned to an event. This way, team members are always in sync and no detail is ever miscommunicated. The better your communication, the more productive your team will be. Tips like these can free up your time so you can spend more time with your families. Learn more about Kraken's productivity and efficiency tools at kraken.net. How will you spend the time you save?
Let's get cracking.
Commander, I gotta say that if I was gonna be an octopus, I would want to be in the Kraken logo.
I do too. It's really a good logo. So we're going to wrap up here a few minutes. We're hoping to have someone soon that was part of the recent FTC processes in Washington and meetings regarding pricing and where pricing should perhaps be on websites of funeral homes. So hopefully we can get him on board here, though. But before that, my phone was just ringing. Hello, Welton.
Hello, Welton.
Yeah, Ken's getting ready to share it with you. Hold on.
I'll tell you what. Welton spoke after me at the Pennsylvania convention. The guy's he's brilliant. He's really brilliant. Great guy. Knows his stuff, and it's something that a funeral home needs. Like, you have to appear in a search result, like a period. You don't exist if you don't.
If you're in business, SEO is everything. I can tell you, he did work for us here at the Foresight Companies, and I am a fan of Welton Hong and Ring Ring Marketing. So let's run his promo.
We're Ring Ring Marketing. We help funeral homes generate at least 10 more at-need calls per month. Our techniques help you dominate local search rankings and become the top choice for services in your area. We also proudly offer a 100% money-back guarantee. For a free copy of our book, visit www.funeralhomeprofits.com.
All right, Commander, this wraps things up. Next week, I'm going to be in Idaho for most of the week speaking at that conference. You'll be somewhere. We'll figure out a time and a place and how we make this work.
We always make that work. But anyway, we solicit your thoughts on this obituaries. Have you had issues that went on at your funeral home where family refused? Have you ever had a complaint because you posted a obituary without permission. Share with us out there in the field some of the things that you're seeing regards to obituaries. How do you feel about getting scraped from the big companies?
It burns. All right. Until next time, have a great effing week.
Out here.
Get your ass up and slip it. Rolling up his mouth.